If you're drafting in the 9, 10, or 11 hole this year, we need to have a convo about Johnny Taylor. What's up? I'm John Hansen. We all know last year was an absolute nightmare for Jonathan Taylor. A very, very, very serious ankle injury that required off-season cleanup surgery, and he is expected to be ready to rock and roll for training camp. But my man is rolling right now with an ADP of like 16 or 17 overall. Let's just call it 16 to be fair. And that is why I said, attention, those of you drafting in that range, 9 through 12, because I think your optimal route is to grab a wide receiver in round number 1 and come back with Jonathan Taylor. I know the running backs this year are getting pushed down the board a little bit. A lot of zero RB dudes out there, people out there. But Jonathan Taylor was a guy this time last year who literally never had an injury before, never missed a practice. As far as I can tell, I am a fellow South Jersey resident. We've heard many legends of this. No missed practices in high school, college, and until last year in the NFL. So that was a fluky situation. And I think people are forgetting, a little bit at least, how great Jonathan Taylor was last year. The year before, I mean, in 2021. He was the RB1, of course, 375 fantasy points. That was 22.1 a game, by far number one. And a lot of people don't remember this, but through week 4 of 2021, Jonathan Taylor was only the RB20 in total scoring, thanks to that dum-dum Frank Reich, who was not giving him the ball. Got to spread the ball around, Frank. No, you don't. Frankie, when you have a Jonathan Taylor, you feed that man the rock, and I think that is exactly what Shane Steichen will do. Although a little bit of a new offense here for Taylor. We'll get to that in a moment. I did want to give out some data points from Fantasy Points Data just as a little reminder of how great Jonathan Taylor was. Well, we can look at the basic numbers here. Let's take a look at Taylor that year, who led the NFL in pretty much every rushing metric, if you will. Call it up right now. And he was what we call a league winner. Led the NFL with 332 carries for 1,811 yards. All led the NFL there. Led the NFL with 18 rushing touchdowns, along with 83. I believe that was a walk-off touchdown. Yards per game, 106.5. Digging deeper into the real sexy data over at fantasypoints.com that year in 2021. Again, we're going to throw out last year. It was an absolute disaster for the Colts. Matt Ryan was washed. The young quarterback was absolutely awful. So it was bad. And the O-line was also an absolute disaster. We'll get into that. I think they're going to be better. But the year before, when they weren't a great team, by the way, being led by Carson Wentz, he was pretty efficient that year with 27 touchdown passes. But this was a middling offense overall that year. John Taylor was 5th in explosive run rate out of 50. With minimum 100 carries that year, 2021. 14th out of 50 with in the stuffed rate, 14th best stuff rate, 17th best out of 50 in forced missed tackles, and number 1 in yards after contact. He also had the 7th best success rate on zone runs. Now, Shane Steichen coming in here, and by the way, Shane Steichen in his offense last year, very RPO based, and Anthony Richardson, certainly works fine there. Got a top 15 RB15 season out of Miles Sanders last year with only 280 touches. That is 16.4 per game. Jonathan Taylor, even last year in a disaster when he was often dealing with that bum ankle, had 21.9 touches here. So we're looking good for Jonathan Taylor here with Shane Steichen. He'll be the top bell cow, no doubt about it. There will be some RPO action here. We're expecting, let's call it 14 games 14 starts from Anthony Richardson. That's kind of like my mental guesstimate at this point here on July 11th, at least. So Taylor might lose some goal line opportunities here to Anthony Richardson. They're going to try and be vertical in that passing attack. Richardson does have a big arm. Hopefully he can, show well and at least pose a threat and ease up some pressure off of Jonathan Taylor. But look, he's going to get the ball plenty. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And Richardson's the dual threat action, his second reaction ability, the RPO action should open up some pretty explosive plays for Jonathan Taylor, who again was 5th in explosive run rate back in 2021. That offensive line was an abject failure last year. Quentin Nelson gave up a sack, lots of injuries, but look, they're not a great group, but I think they're middling, so we'll take it. They might even be top 15. I would say they are top 15. Looks like they figured out the left tackle issue with Bernard Raymond. You got Quentin Nelson back. Ryan Kelly at center has been there forever, as has Braden Smith now at right tackle, and Will Freeze there. It's a top 15 group here for Jonathan Taylor. And when you look at their weapons in the passing attack, I think it's pretty darn good. You've got a really nice possession receiver in Michael Pittman. They don't have a stud outside receiver, but Alec Pierce is pretty darn good. He can win against man coverage on the outside and pretty good ball skills, really good ball skills in the red zone. And I really, really like Josh Downs. He's a professional slot receiver. His father, Gary Downs, played for the Dallas Cowboys. I interviewed him at the Combine. Amazing kid, very well prepared and really smart. Football IQ out the yin yang. So they're in pretty good hands with that trio right there. You throw in a little Isaiah McKenzie as a gadgety guy, and of course a slew of tight ends. Jelani Woods is certainly intriguing. Could break out. That's certainly within the realm of possibility. You have the old reliable Mo Alley Cox. And then can Kylan Granson go away, though, please? No offense. I like Will Mallory out of Miami, who I watched at the Senior Bowl. So I do believe he ran the fastest 40 at the Combine. So I do believe he will make this team push Kylan Granson likely off the roster. So you do have overall not a bad situation for Jonathan Taylor, unless, and you do have Gardner Minshew as a backup, and that's not a bad backup, unless, if in case Anthony Richardson fully implodes. And then last but not least, my case for Jonathan Taylor, they do have a pretty darn good schedule. That's what happens when you suck the year before, as they did. I think, what were they, 4-11-1 or something? Take a look at that right now. 4-12-1 this year, playing in that soft AFC South that always helps. This is really not bad. Jacksonville, Houston, Baltimore. I'm not even sure they're good on defense anymore. The Rams, same deal. Like, they're really depleted defensively. Tennessee is going to be tough. Jacksonville, they're respectable. Cleveland should be pretty good. Saints aren't bad at all. Carolina's solid, but these are not shutdown Ds by any stretch. Same with the Patriots. Then we have the bye. Tampa's not the greatest. Again, these are all kind of like C matchups, which isn't great, but it's certainly not scary. Then we do have Tennessee, Cincinnati, but then down the stretch, really nice playoff schedule. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Vegas, and then Houston if you play in Week 17. So I would lean toward the positive there on the schedule for Jonathan Taylor. Again, ADP of 16, so you can, with no problems, open a draft with, let's say, I tried to do it recently. It actually didn't work out for me, but I was drafting against people who listen to my radio show every day and know I love Jonathan Taylor like a son. So he went a little earlier. It might happen to you. By the way, my backup was Saquon Barkley, but I opened with CeeDee Lamb. You go CeeDee Lamb, you come back with Jonathan Taylor, Steph Diggs in that range if he falls to 9 or something like that. Even certainly Tyreek most likely won't. I'm a little worried about Devontae Adams. I don't know about that one. And I'm always a little worried about A.J. Brown. Like an Amon-Ra to open in round 1. You got to get into the wide receiver business. Come back with Jonathan Taylor in round number 2. It should deliver primo results and a really nice ROI for the usually incredibly durable Jonathan Taylor. He's well rested and he's a very serious man. He'll be all business and he'll return to elite status. And you can go wide receiver, take Jonathan Taylor in round number 2, and then look, you can hold off a little bit on the running backs and target, some of these guys dropping into rounds like 5, 6, 7. Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, he's probably going to be higher than that now. Rashad White, guys like that, even a Rashad Penny late. But Johnny Taylor will be money as a second-round pick. And make sure you continue to consume these videos and consume the good advice. Like, subscribe, throw me a bone with a good comment. And if you do draft Jonathan Taylor, well, I can say the same thing I did say in 2021. Didn't say it last year. Did say it in 2021. You are welcome.